At 4:32 a.m., my nephew showed up on my porch carrying his little sister on his back. They were in pajamas. They were ice cold. And the reason was simple. My brother chose a casino party over his own kids. I'm an ER nurse. I'd just gotten home from a brutal shift when the pounding started. Dean, 11, almost collapsed in my doorway. Hannah, 7, was limp against his shoulder, lips blue-gray. I hauled them inside, wrapped them in blankets, and put 911 on speaker. Hannah's breathing sounded like air through a straw, so I slapped a nebulizer mask on her. Dean curled on my floor, shaking so hard his teeth clicked. I kept my voice calm because that's what you do in emergencies, even when you want to scream. In the ambulance, I asked Dean what happened. He spoke like he'd rehearsed it. My brother and his wife left around 5 for a casino opening. They told the kids to order pizza and go to bed. Later, they went outside looking for the cat. The front door slammed. The smart lock engaged, Dean whispered. The code didn't work. He called them. No answer. His phone died. So he took Hannah to the garage, wrapped himself in an oily rug, and gave her his coat. When she started wheezing, he picked her up and walked a mile through freezing wind to my place. At the hospital, Hannah went to the ICU. Dean's feet were bad enough he couldn't stand. CPS told me my duplex had to pass a home study the next morning or the kids went to foster care. I nodded, then started doing math in my head like my life depended on it. At 9 a.m., my brother and his wife finally stormed into the ER lobby. She yelled, "Where are my babies?" like she hadn't been missing all night. My brother came straight to me, voice smooth. "This is a misunderstanding." He leaned in. "I'll pay off your student loans today. Just tell the police it was an accident." I said, "You left them outside in 23 degrees weather." He smiled. "The lock malfunctioned. Technology, you know." Then his face tightened. "Say the right thing or I'll ruin you. I'll get your license." I said, "No." His hand clamped on my arm. He shoved me hard. My hip hit a metal cart. Instruments clattered across the floor. My palm scraped the wall, catching myself. Pain flashed up my elbow. The lobby went silent. Then, slow as a nightmare, Dean pushed up from his wheelchair. He gripped the armrest. He planted his bandaged feet on the footrest. His face went white with pain, but his eyes didn't move. "Don't touch her," he said. My brother opened his mouth. Dean got louder. "You left us to die." My sister-in-law stopped crying like a switch flipped. Security rushed in. A young officer stepped between us. My brother tried, "This is a family matter." The officer cut him off. "Turn around." The cuffs clicked, loud and final. The next day, CPS and police walked through my brother's perfect house. Heated floors, a wine cabinet, barely any food. The neighbor admitted he'd seen Dean hauling bags of empty bottles to return for cash, then sharing cheap snacks with Hannah outside the store. CPS checked a box and said, "Unsafe." I sold what I could, fast. My grandmother's necklace, my laptop, anything that became bunk beds, kids' clothes, meds, cabinet locks. I paid a shark of a family attorney and let him hunt. I stayed up until midnight assembling bunk beds. My fingers blistered. CPS came, checked my fridge, rattled the frames, scanned my receipts, then finally nodded. "You can pick them up tomorrow," she said. Dean walked into my duplex holding Hannah's hand like he still didn't trust doors. Hannah pointed at the bottom bunk and smiled for the first time since the storm. 2 weeks later, my sister-in-law went live online, crying under perfect lighting, calling me a kidnapper. Strangers flooded my inbox. People called my hospital demanding I be fired. HR called me in. Instead of cutting me loose, my chief said, "We saw the footage. We know the truth." The final blow came from a party guest. She told my attorney my brother had been showing off the smart lock that night, changing the code from his phone while everyone laughed. The server logs proved it. Dean hadn't forgotten anything. His father changed the code and never told him. After that, court moved fast. Prison. Permanent termination of parental rights. The big house got sold and the money went into a trust for the kids, managed by me. Now our place is small but it's warm. Dean finally looks his age. Hannah laughs without wheezing. And every time I lock my own front door, I remember the night and one-year-old carried his sister through the cold just to find one adult who would open it. So tell me, what would you have done in my shoes?